I don't care if you're qualified, you're not qualified. I don't give a crap. Okay. If you want to be a world champion in a card game, suck it up and play the format. They have been, you act like we don't do limited. We don't do pre-releases. We act like you don't have the ability to actually play the game in some other format that's not just one deck for the last year.
All right. So we have the Worlds format announced. First of all, happy anniversary to Rochelle. She said that today was 2 years for her at Ravensburger.
Wow, that's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hopefully we've got at least 20 more in with you. So yeah, super sealed. What do we think?
Sealed's a real format, and everyone that's complaining about it should shut up.
Moving on.
I've been hearing Dan say he wanted sealed in competition.
I wanted it for Continentals.
No, I know. Like, it's all I hear you talk about.
I just, all right. We're going back to big mode. Come on. Let's go on a ride
Disney.
together. Listen, I don't care if you're qualified, you're not qualified. I don't give a crap. Okay. If you want to be a world champion in a card game, suck it up and play the format. They have been, you act like we don't do limited. We don't do pre-releases. We act like you don't have the ability to actually play the game in some other format that's not just one deck for the last year. I'm tired of the excuses. If you want to be a world champion, don't tell me you can't buy product. Don't tell me you can't buy sealed packs. I don't want to hear any of this ridiculous excuse that you can't practice. It's stupid. You want to be a world champion? You're one of 28 players in the room that have won a golden Mickey or multiple golden Mickeys. You can sack up, all right? You can buy some product. You can buy some, and don't tell me, I heard something, there was not a draft simulator or a sealed simulator. They do exist. Do some research and find them, because I can give you the link in the description if you need it, or you can comment, because I guarantee they exist. I cannot understand for one moment the complaint about having a sealed format. I had 3 or 4 different people message me like, I can't believe this. And I told them all, you're all stupid. This is a great thing for the Disney Lorcana. This is a great thing for us moving forward, because it's a proof of concept that we will get a DLC that's limited. And all this crap like, oh, we never had it before. Who cares? Honestly, who cares? Like, I was so excited to hear about this, because I think it's so interesting. And it really is going to, in my humble opinion, the people that will win Worlds will be one of the people that 3-0s this format. Shout out to them. Congratulations for all the effort they put in. And I think they will be deserving of the name World Champion.
When I played at Gen Con last year, it was like go 3-0 in an event, you win a match, similar to what they did at PAX U, right? And the way that Pastime set up the events, they purposely had it so like you couldn't do everything, because they didn't want one person to play 9 to 5 or whatever the hours were, like the entire con. And like I actually had more fun in the non-constructed, like core constructed events, because it wasn't just like, did I bring the best deck and did I win? It was like, hey, I had to pick cards. And like shout out to like Oki, who was on our team. Like him and I were in a sealed pool together. And like in between rounds, we were having discussions of like, hey, like, was that card good? Was that card bad? Like, should we swap things? And like it just because it was learning moments, and 2, it was just like, it was real skill expression. You couldn't just bring the Steel Song deck and be like, ha, I play flutes, I win.
Love you to death. We're going to bring in the expert.
Yay.
I was on the call and I just was like, man, my timing's amazing.
I love your background.
I thought it was apt. I was like in the car driving home from locals when you guys were talking about people not playing until rotation, and I just was like almost ready to scream at my phone like, sealed draft. Like, you don't have to know what the best deck is. You don't have to worry about what rotation is if you just play with the set 8 cards in limited.
It's true. It's true.
So in Magic, there were tons of events that were constructed that qualified you for the Pro Tour, whole seasons, in fact. And then you had to play limited. And a lot of the people that work at Ravensburger now used to work on Magic, so it's not a huge step. Shout out to Lorcana Villain. We haven't been live since the announcement. I'm just going to say I think he deserves to be the Worlds caster above every single other human being that plays Disney Lorcana.
Can you show us if there's a cup of tea on your desk?
I just wanted to say that publicly, where as many people as
Drinking the
possible could see it.
Kool-Aid.
Like he's got the knowledge, and
by
most
the way,
importantly,
we
the
were live
personality.
when it got announced that we gave everyone shout outs.
What?
We were live. We live reacted to the announcement, bro.
Did we? I don't think so.
Yeah, you were there, dude.
You were there.
Well, I'm just saying he's the best.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Dick Burns was there, not Bick Durns.
Yeah. If you have a mug of tea on your desk, all right, you can just show it to the Nunez. Now that I'm done ranting about why there should be a sealed in Worlds, can you tell me what you think about this particular super sealed?
So actually, my first response is a discussion I was having in like a local Facebook chat was people want to play this format, but it's kind of cost prohibitive. Where like the retail value of 16 booster packs is like $96,
Yeah.
and that doesn't include any amount of surprise support. So it's kind of hard for the average player to like be able to have the same experience as the world's competitors and be as invested in this format. Like if I were qualified for Worlds, you know, how many times would I want to try to play sealed? 100?
Mhm.
You know, if it's going to cost me $100 or close to it every time that I want to build a sealed pool, or like, you know, build a sealed pool and then play games against other people, it's hard for the average person to like do that more than maybe once or twice. You know, even if I'm someone who wanted to do it like 5 or 10 times, if I don't have other people that I can do it with, you know, I'm not limited by my own finances. I'm limited by everyone around me being able to do it or not do it. So that's an interesting question for me is like, is this format too expensive that the average player won't be able to be as invested in it as they would be if it was something that they could do themselves? One of the questions that was in our Discord was like, are you concerned if sealed is like too high variance, someone can just open a busted rare and just like win because of that? And especially when there's 16 packs, it's really difficult for like one card to be so powerful that it invalidates all of the other cards.
I do think that's the point, though, right? Like
I think that's the point too.
Specifically, the point that's of why it is this format.
So I was also thinking their departure where this is a 50 card format as opposed to previous 40 card formats, and what the implications are when you have to select 3 ink colors for your deck as opposed to your deck being any color of ink.
Yeah.
So if you're opening 16 packs and each pack has 12 cards, but then functionally you can only use half of them because you can only select 3 inks, it's more like there are kind of 6 cards per pack, which would be that same like 96 cards where you're playing like the best 50 of 96. But it's not, you know, they don't, I don't think anyway that they seed packs that they have like exactly 2 amber cards and exactly 2 steel cards. And especially with dual ink cards, like it's not going to just be like a flat, it's exactly 96 cards that are within this 3 ink combination.
Yeah.
I also think the fact, and I know like Nunez, you've talked about with me sealed and draft for hours on end, and I always learn something new. What do you think about the 3 ink restriction? Does that provide more skill because you have to strategically build with like the pool you're given?
Oh, it certainly is like so one of the things Magic Game Designer once talked about was how restrictions breed creativity, where it would seem like, oh, well, you're making it harder for me and thereby like it's going to be worse, but it actually makes it better when it is harder. So
And-
like having to figure out like which combinations of 3 inks lets you build the best deck as opposed to just playing the best cards means that like on average it's going to be more skillful to have a deck that is limited to 3 inks.
Yeah, it's also a skill to evaluate, right? Like how do I evaluate my card pool to decide what is the best 3 ink combination? Like there's a whole lot that goes into that as well. You know, in most other card games, and for what it's worth, I've always hated the limited format in Disney Lorcana because there was no restriction. Because I feel like it does remove like so many variables in the game when it comes to the limited format. I think it's just because we have 12 card packs, which is the problem where most card games that I played before have had 15 to 18 card packs. So it's just easier to have more restriction in limited format, where it's very clear that Disney Lorcana, if you opened 4 packs of draft, you might not even have 30 playables in like an ink combination. So that's kind of where it is. So I like that they go to the third ink because it does now. It's not just about I'm going to open up, an effective, two-thirds of a box and just build the best deck. Like, no, there's a decision to be made of like, all right, how do I build the best ink combination from these 16 packs? And I think that just adds a whole other layer of skill onto it. And I'm super in favor of it. I think it's a great idea.
It also like so Frank has I don't think he's done them for recent sets, but I could be wrong. Where Frank for the first like 5-6 sets of the game had a tier list for limited where he ranked what he thought the best cards were. And when Magic Pro teams will get together like prior to the Pro Tour, because the Pro Tour begins with like 3 rounds of draft, they will create like a tier list for what they think the best cards are in the set. Where for like pack one, pick one, right? You got to pick a card out of the pack, and you're trying to figure out what the best card is that you should take. You can have like a heuristic of like this is overall the best card based on our like experience in a bunch of drafts. But for sealed, if you have the literal best card, but nothing else in that ink, like say like there was a steel 7-cost Raya that was really, really good. Say you had that card, but no other good steel cards. Like you might choose not to play Raya despite it being the best card in the set because your deck in a different 3 ink combination is like overall better. So you often have to like weigh, okay, I have these great cards in this color and these great cards in this color. Like, what ink do I think is going to be the best? And then sometimes you make choices based on curve, right? Like, say you have a lot of really strong cards in like a couple inks, but they're like they have a glaring weakness where there's no 2-cost cards or something like that. Like, you might play an ink that like overall has lower power level, but like fills a certain void that you have, whether that's like a particular cost that you are like very short on,
or
like
removal.
removal, or you have like a weakness to evasives without a particular color.
Yeah.
So James saw this today and he goes, "Oh my God, we should do this at the store." And I said, "James, you can't get people around here to pay $40 for a tournament. What are you thinking?" I was like, "Oh, okay." Have a few questions. One, do you think 3 colors will bleed into constructed? Is this way to test that? I don't think so. People have been begging for a 3-color limited for a long time.
Yeah, I think I would love that.
Yeah. Can you simulate packs and then use your own cards? Absolutely. There's definitely going to be simulators out there on the internet, and then you just pull the cards from your collection. If you're on a budget, if you wanted to do this at home, that is, because I'm sure the people that are qualified aren't going to be on that big of a budget.
I think.
And then, so I said we would talk about this later when we talk about the Worlds formats and how tournaments are just marketing. Like Ravensburger doesn't need to have a World Championships. The reason for the World Championships is to sell more cards. And I think that's why we're getting 4 packs from each of these 4 sets instead of 2 packs from every set made. Like there's a rotation. They want to feature these cards. I think it's great. It's a net positive for absolutely everybody. And this again proves how important it is to run tournaments as a form of advertising. My biggest problem with this was a sideboard. I loved that sideboard was not in any rules thing anywhere. And I'm tired of hearing people asking us to have a sideboard and constructed. And now this is just feeding that even more. That people are like, "Oh my God, next we're having constructed." And I'm just sick of it. I absolutely hate the idea.
It's not going to happen.
But like in sealed, like I've done drafts in sealed before where you were allowed to switch.
Yeah. That's why I thought you were reacting to the.
No, I wasn't. I was just waiting for Nunes to finish talking. I have it written on a piece of paper, vent about sideboarding.
But don't we already sort of have this concept in the?
Yeah, it's inking.
No, I understand that, but like I've played in sealed tournaments before, like at Gen Con, you were allowed to change your deck between rounds 1, 2, and 3
Yeah, which
with
is
your sealed pool.
which
is
is
like-
not allowed at all.
So hold on.
Yeah.
This is where you're wrong because since you don't register a deck in those tournaments, you can
Yeah.
do whatever you want, like
Fair.
literally.
No,
that-
you're not allowed to do it in Worlds as well. I was gonna say.
Right. But
Um,
like for Worlds, these players are going to have to register every single card they open.
Yeah,
Right.
because in Magic at pre-releases, you could change your decks in between rounds as well.
Yeah.
Because it's a casual event.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the first time I ever went to a sealed tournament, it was at Coliseum of Comics, and someone started sideboarding after game 1, and I was like, "You can't do that." And they called the judge, and the judge was like, "I've never played a game without sideboarding." I said, "I thought you played One Piece." He goes, "Shut up, dude." One Piece is best of one for anyone that doesn't know.
Yeah.
And then I said, grab any rule book and show me the keyword sideboarding, and it's fine. And then he's like, "All right, guys, no sideboarding tonight." I was like, "Thank you." I think it's ridiculous.
No, I think in sealed it's completely fine. And I think that the problem with it is to this point, again, we've never had to register a sealed pool. In every level of event for Disney Lorcana to this point, it's just been like open your packs, build your deck, and like you said, you can change anything you want in between rounds, and you don't even have to change it back. The idea that they have to register their deck and then make changes in between games 2 and 3, but they have to go back to whatever it is that they make changes for, I think is great. I think it's very interesting, and it adds a whole other layer. Like Nunez said, "Oh, I'm weak to evasives." So they might just be like, you know what? Like I'll just be weak to evasives in most of my games, and then if it's a problem, I'll board into it in game 2 and 3. I think that you also can make an argument for maybe my deck is like really strong into evasives, but I don't have like beefy stats. So if I don't have beefy stats, I'm going to lose a bunch of trades if my opponent has better evasives than me. So then you're like, all right, well in game 2, I got to get rid of these bad evasives and bring in this other ink combination for just stats. Like, I think that it just adds so many layers.
Notably, the rules actually say that you have to say to your ink combination.
Okay, fair.
So I actually dislike that. I think that's one of the
Oh,
more
I didn't
interesting
even
things
know
in
that.
Magic.
Yeah. I hate that.
In Magic, if you like register a red-green deck in sealed, in game 2, you could have brought your blue-black deck that you built out of your sealed pool and just play a
So
completely different deck.
interesting.
Yeah,
So
I love
I
that.
actually do wish that was a thing that they had allowed for Worlds, where you could register your 3 ink combination game 1 deck, and then if you wanted to play the other 3 inks for game 2. But as it currently stands, like once you have selected your 3 inks, you could like throw away the other half of your sealed pool because you're not allowed to touch it. And I think that's a decision I wouldn't have made that way.
I agree. I didn't even read I read Super Sealed and how many booster packs, and then I saw the word sideboard because it's in quotations.
Should have been bolded.
So do you register the entire pool that you open, or
You
just
should
the pool?
100% register the entire pool. Yeah.
I was not on the Lorecast today because I got stuck on call, so I don't
I
know
mean,
what did
I wasn't
happen.
either, but I guarantee you, like that's how it works.
This is just from playing previous games. So what happens is what happens in most games, you will open your booster packs. The person across from you will not open any of theirs. It might be different because there's so few players and there could be a judge for every table, for instance.
It's also possible that these packs are already opened. And
yeah.
In my humble opinion,
registered.
at this event, the players will not be opening packs.
Yeah,
They're going to get handed stamped cards of packs.
So
Yeah,
it
some
says like
people
table
hate that.
1.1 or something.
For forever, I had like WoW Nationals cards that had like a stamp of like the national or whatever. And like,
Ryan McKinney collects stamped cards, and that's all that's allowed to go in his cube. So I also would prefer to play with a stamped card than a normal version.
Yeah, this also removes any. I mean, like it's not impossible, but it's improbable. But like it removes any form of cheating. Like you can't be like, oh, I opened my pack and I opened a Maui Shark, and you can't do it because like if it's stamped and it's already predetermined, like there's no way for you to have a Maui shark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
If this was, let's say, a set champs format, what would happen is you would open all of your booster packs, and your person with the same last name as you will sitting across from you will verify
Dick, Gary, and Mo.
and then you will check them all off on a checklist. You'll give your whole pool and the checklist to them, and they will confirm it and then give it back, and then they will open all of theirs. That way, like, because it's possible that you open an entire pack that's like, there's discard cards in here, or there's 3 rares in here, there's no rares in here. Stuff like that.
Sick.
There's a random stuff on my desk.
There was a point in Magic where, like, if you went to a sealed Grand Prix trial, you would pass the pool. So you would register the cards that were in the pool, and then you would hand that pool to someone else.
Yeah,
people hated that.
People would,
I don't like that.
Oh no, I liked when they took it and walked it across the room.
Yeah.
I liked that. I didn't like passing. Now once in front of you,
twice to the left, once to the right, and then in front of you.
Yeah, I hated that. But what's it called? So people would drive or fly to Grand Prix, open a card that's worth $200 or $300, and drop from the tournament before they had to pass it. And it's like, your priorities in life are very skewed.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
We are not playing for whatever this card is. We're playing for much greater things.
I think this problem came to a head at Grand Prix Vegas when people were just like, I'm just going to the casino now, like.
Yeah. Foil Tarmogoyf. All right, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's blackjack money,
Sick, bro.
All right, and then that's not how we do it. That's how we do it. And then the new format, triple deck constructed. So this also confused people that I know that thought this was just the new way of playing Disney Lorcana. Because it says new format.
Well, this is like no difference than people thinking that rotation's starting with this set. Like,
I know. Yeah.
It's just like, man, just read. Like, just read anything that's been posted. Like, come on.
I was also upset to not be there, but $500 for a flight, I just can't do it. Like, I could take myself and my wife on a cruise for $500. We could go see Canada. So anyway, triple deck constructed. Players create 3 core constructed decks with all 6 inks represented. Matches are best of 3 with best of 5 in the grand finals. Players review their opponent's decks before the match, then decide who goes first in game 1. Using ink pair tokens representing each deck, each player secretly chooses one of their opponent's decks to bench, meaning they won't have to play against it. Players then choose and simultaneously reveal the ink color decks for their decks that they are playing in game 1. After game 1, the player who lost has the option to switch their deck to the other remaining deck to play for game 2, or they can play the same deck they lost with. They also have the option of who goes first in game 2. The player who won game 1 must win with their remaining non-bench deck to finish the match. If the player who lost game 1 wins game 2, a third and deciding game is played with the remaining decks on both sides to see who wins the match. Player must win the match. A player wins the match when they win a game with both non-bench decks. In the grand finals, there is no benching, and the finalists must win with all 3 decks to win the whole tournament. My God. It's a little blurry, hard to read. My bad. My eyes are burning.
First comment. What are our thoughts on the word benched?
They should have said banished.
I know.
Banished would have been kind of free.
I mean, I'm saying,
like, banished is also
free. How is it not banished?
What do they put on a sign? Like, if a ride is down for the day, does it have a word?
Oh yeah, what's the word, Melissa?
Yeah, we're all looking at you. You can't tell, but we're only looking at you.
The word when you can't go on a ride at Disney World?
When it's closed?
Yes.
Yeah, there has to be a word for it. They can't
sometimes it's under refurb, sometimes it's under maintenance.
That deck is down.
There's no Disney word.
There's nothing corny.
Oh, I can't believe there's not something like Tinkerbell's sprinkling.
There's literally nothing corny
ride right now.
You know what, Disney? You gotta step that up, man.
I mean,
Yeah,
like the very specific ride might say, like, if let's say Peter Pan was down, they might say like Tinkerbell is working her fairy dust, but it's very like ride specific. It's not a.
Right.
what I was saying.
Regardless, Banish was completely free.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree.
There was so much bench. What is this? Soccer?
Are we playing Pokemon? Like,
I have a very important question. When they say that you get to look at your opponent's deck, are they
Yeah.
saying the ink combination or the
I-
60 cards in
I
each of the
think
three
that
decks?
I think it's
I
going to
think
be
it's the whole deck.
I think
Yeah.
it's open deck list. The whole tournament is open deck list. I wouldn't be
Okay.
shocked if the sealed format is also open deck list. If I'm being honest.
I was
That
just
would be
curious
shocking
because
to
like
me.
that impacts a lot in my decision of which combination I would want to banish or bench.
Yeah, of
Because like
course.
knowing Amber Steel, it could be
Yeah.
7 different things, but if I
Yeah,
know
same thing.
specifically
Like,
it's
you know, you could be playing Turner Dogs or songs. You know,
exactly.
Like, I totally to me it's definitely when it's definitely you're gonna know all 3 decks of your opponent and you're gonna make your best decisions that way. Why do we have this highlighted so much?
Someone asked a question. I was waiting for you to answer it.
Do they pick which deck to play or
They
choose?
choose
They
what
pick.
deck to play.
Yeah.
So I can't tell if it's just the way Dick read it or the way that it was worded, but simultaneously both players select a deck that their opponent cannot play. And then presumably that has to get revealed because otherwise you would select a deck that was banned to play for game 1. But so now that you know what deck you're not allowed to pick, then for game 1 you choose which of your 2 remaining decks you want to play. And presumably it is randomly selected which player will go first. And then someone, you play that game out and someone wins that game. And the winner now must switch decks. They have to bring their last deck because they've won with one and the other one has been benched. And then the player who lost can either choose to bring the same deck again or to bring their third deck, not benched, not the one that they just played. And then a second game is played. And if a player wins 2-0, okay, they're done. If the match is now 1-1, both players have to bring the deck that they haven't won with. And presumably the player who just lost the last game, who probably won game 1, will now get to go first.
So it's not like rock, paper, scissors. You're not like both saying it at the same time. You're going to select the deck face down. And then once your opponent, it's like playing Tichu.
Yeah, I imagine it's just going to be like coins or, like just like little tokens that are just the half ink combos. And then you'll probably just put all 3 of them face down and flip up together or whatever it is, It'll be something that'll be included in the sweet, wonderful gift package for all the participants at Worlds.
Yeah, this was another thing where James was like, well, should we try this? I'm like, how many people that own more than one deck? Now let's try it.
I said this in the Discord today. I will 100% promote this for our Worlds watch along party. If Team TFM wants to do this live on camera that weekend, we'll make it happen. I actually think it would be a blast.
Sounds like fun. Nunez
needs to buy more cards though.
I mean, I could get pretty close to putting 3 decks together right now. It's like I think the actual secret of this format is that you potentially will play a lot of part of why tournaments work so well for selling cards is people always want to know what the best deck is and they want to know who won with what, right? So part of the question is this format does not directly correlate to like what deck you should play in set champs, where I actually think it's a really interesting decision to be able to say like, okay, I'm gonna build a Ruby Sapphire deck that can never win the mirror because I'm just always gonna ban my opponent's Ruby Sapphire deck. And so if previous Ruby Sapphire mirrors, it was all about Maleficent Dragon because you needed, to go over the top and be able to banish their Tamatoa. Like imagine a world where it was like set 6 Ruby Sapphire and you just never were going to play against Ruby Sapphire, so you didn't need any Tamatoas. That deck looks wildly different. And then if you brought that to a set champs and your opponent had Maleficent Dragons and you just never won, that's the difference in the format.
Yeah. So it's like the counter to that is how awesome it is to think about, the best players in the world building decks of ink combinations that you would just not expect him to see. You know, like obviously we got another set of Duel Link cards, and maybe there's gonna be some more love for Duel Link decks. But you know, if all of a sudden you see if one of these 28 players really shows up with Ruby Steel, and they're like, I'm just always gonna ban my worst matchup, and I'm gonna get a win with Ruby Steel, like there's gonna be players out there to be like, oh my god, this Ruby Steel, like this is crazy. This guy, one of 28 players registered this deck. Same thing with like Amber Sapphire. Like anybody that can figure this out and say, I know what I lose to, and therefore, since I have the ability to ban that immediately, like if you just build, if you're just gonna be like, I'm gonna build one of my deck as an aggro deck, and I'm always gonna ban the steel deck, I'm just gonna try to get over on my opponents. It's a whole other strategy to this format. I love it. I'm so excited. I love this format.
So poker has dealer's choice events, right? And there's a lot of strategy that goes into just playing the player.
Yep.
Like Phil Hellmuth will pick Badoogie every rotation because he's like, I'm old. None of these people know what Badoogie is. I will win. Whereas like Daniel Negreanu will in his vlog specifically say, this guy's at my table. I can never pick this game. So like I can't wait to watch like DKP sit down and his opponent go, I don't even want to see his deck list. Ruby Sapphire. You know, Ed sit down.
But that's
Goodbye,
part of
Ruby
the,
Amethyst.
that's part of it though, right? Like if you are that player, you know, like can you even register it? You know, like that's the conversation that you have to have now as a competitor going like, man, if everyone knows that this is my thing, you know, if like I have 200 hours on a master class for a deck, can I really bring this? Like, who's going to let me play this deck? So that's where I think that becomes a mind game for them, you know? I think it's like one of those where it's like, you better learn these other decks as good as you know this one. And granted, they had said in the cast, and, you know, let's be honest, a lot of us knew, that they've known this information for a little while. So it's not like they found out today. So they've had some time to plan for this and things like that. And I also think, shout out, right? Finally, I mean, we're live. I can kind of say this. Anyone that's been following the metagame and you see a list like Sailor come out and win with Emerald Steel, man, I wonder why would Sailor play Emerald Steel? He's a Ruby Sapphire player. Spoilers, guys. This is why. Ed coming out with Sapphire Amethyst in a top 16 of 100+ player tournament. Man, I wonder why Ed's not playing Ruby Amethyst or like other thing. Like, what's he doing? Why is he playing Ruby Sapphire? Well, now you're seeing it, guys. You're figuring it out. Like, these players have known about it. They have been utilizing their time wisely. Shout out to Zan again, because it's so easy. In every event that Zan's gone to, day one, he plays a deck. Day two, he plays another deck. Like, he has been doing it for months now. So, like, it's just like a nonstop thing of, like, these players have known about it. You've seen them show up and really just hone that craft and just get better and better at the game, because now it's important. And it, again, whoever wins Worlds under these circumstances, under these rules, they earned it. I will 100% be happy to call them world champion.
Nice. All right. Now we've got more questions. If you were building the triple deck construction, what would your ink combos be? I should also say I would be a terrible teammate, because you guys would be like, listen, these are the decks you have to call with the decks you bring, blah, blah. I'd be like, nah, I don't feel like playing against Diablo, so I'm just banning green steel. I don't care if it's a good
That's
matchup
just
for me.
legitimately a choice that you could make, though. Where, okay, so Josh, I hope I said his last name right, Paltry, the winner of Atlanta. He's like a New York guy, I believe. He top 8'd the SCG 2K this weekend, playing Amethyst Emerald, but not Churna Dogs and not songs. Just like Josh's, like, I'm gonna do it my way strategy.
Just some
which
Mufasa
is
deck.
I'm not even sure.
Clarabelle, I heard.
I don't even remember that Mufasa was in it. I looked at his list briefly. I mean, it obviously has Chernabog, but I think it probably was very similar to the deck that he played at Continentals. So I don't know if has been testing with anyone for Worlds yet.
Sure.
But like I was thinking, like, imagine I'm on a team with him and he's like, I've had this green yellow deck, I have a million reps with it, it beats X and Y and it loses to Z, but we can just ban Z. And then like we come up with this other deck that beats like the other things, and it's just like you just have this perfect storm because he's got this like pocket deck that nobody else has played. So,
Yeah.
the like level 0 that everybody had was like, well, Amber Steel's the best deck and Ruby Sapphire's the third best deck, and then you got green purple left. And like some people are like, well, Dave's just gonna play purple steel and blue red because that's what he's played a bunch of, and then there's green yellow left. So he's just like free rolling it. So there are
Yeah.
definitely some like level 0, like these are the decks that we already know are good combinations. But like I think that's also just like potentially a mistake to just register those decks. Like if you have a deck like green yellow songs that couldn't beat green steel, but now all of a sudden there's a format where you can just ban green steel and your opponent can never play it. Like you can build a 3 deck lineup that like targets specific things or like eliminates certain weaknesses. And because we've never had to think in that way before, like you potentially can end up with archetypes that like just were not tournament staples before that can like succeed and excel in this world's format.
Yeah, and to just touch on that a little bit more, the reason, like the problem with 3-on-3 with this format is that you don't get to ban a deck, right? Like you all sit down at the table and someone got unlucky and got their worst matchup. So the idea that it's one player building 3 decks and then designing their tournament around a specific, concept, that it makes it so very interesting. I don't know. I think it's great, but my follow up question to this, and I know I didn't answer the question because I'll be honest, I don't think it matters enough to answer it to this moment. But the follow up is we've seen a lot of. All right, I'm going to take that back. We've seen a small majority of these world participants go out and travel and play in these different tournaments. Do you think that they're going to do that to start the season? Or do you think they're just going to like, nope, I'm just going to be in home, just taking every bit of information in as much as possible? So if they do find the sauce, like if they do figure it out, there's no chance of it going out, and there's no chance of giving the 27 other competitors any advantage over you. Like you said, like Josh is kind of an unknown. Even Brian, who won Chicago, like he's kind of an unknown. Like, he won with Emerald Steel Bucky, and he got, Diego's another one. Like he's not this like super social person that talks all the time. Like there's definitely been these winners that you haven't really seen. Even Kurt, like we're being honest, like even Kurt went to Chicago, queued for Nats, went to Nats, queued for Worlds. Like even Kurt is a bit of an unknown. So there's a couple players out there that you're not going to be able to study them as much as like you can study a Sailor or study a Wonder or study, a Zan and things like that. Like you can go and see all the things that Zan's been doing. Obviously, it might be hard to prepare specifically for that because Zan has been successful with everything. But I really do wonder, like in the first month now of the set release, do we expect to see Zan 3 weeks in a row? I don't know.
So I think for all the Facebook people who say like, oh, Lorcana's not a game where you need a team, now is a time where a team is like a huge advantage, and being able to leverage other very high caliber players to help you test specific matchups is like unparalleled. Where if I show up to a tournament and just play against the field, that's helpful. Playing Lorcana in general is always helpful, but it's not anywhere near what I would get out of like, hey, I have this deck and I want to play 10 games against blue red specifically, and I need you to play like as close to perfectly as possible so that I have matchup data to know if I need to ban this.
Yep.
Or like, like more than any other tournament where if I show up and I'm like, okay, the best 5 decks are this, and I know kind of what they all look like, and I know how to play my one deck against them, like in a lot of ways, this is kind of a brewer's paradise where you can't throw out anything. Like I can look at a Ruby Steel deck or an Amber Sapphire deck and just like, wow, whatever. It's it can never beat the metagame.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like if you have a theory about the ability to bench one deck, like you could have an archetype that other people would look at like you're crazy that is like actually just legitimately very good for this format.
Yeah, I agree.
So I mean, I think it's unlikely that, gamers like the game. I think you're still going to see players at tournaments when they're convenient and local, when the prizes are good, and like, they want to be there, and it's a good opportunity. Like, you can't just not go to tournaments if you're going to have a Metafy. Like, it's branding to go out and do well at a tournament. But I think, like, at home in the lab, like, grinding games against the best players is the most successful. Like, the way you're ultimately going to be the most successful at Worlds.
I feel like before big tournaments, you always see a lot of people kind of go into their own little silo. And like you said, that's probably your team or your testing group or whoever that may be. And so I kind of expect similar for a lot of these people who are qualified, is like Sailor's going to talk to Maelstrom a lot. Like, he's going to talk to his crew or whoever it may be. Like, Ed's going to work with Tian Hu, but you're not going to see Ed talking in 20 lore or in these random public places about like, hey, these are the combinations I think I'm going to bring. Like, there's so much on the line here that you really probably don't want people to catch whiff of what you're doing.
I think it's pretty cool that you have to, like, when you lose, you can just pick up your other deck. So you can just like always have a deck that's just like the nuts on the play.
Yeah.
Like an unbeatable on the play deck.
Yeah.
Well, unless it gets banned, right? It gets benched.
Yeah.
Right. But then you
Okay.
have two good decks. like the one deck is only really good on the play. But anyway, all right. Yeah, I have also put no thought into this. It's hard to, especially this close to it. Like, the new set's not out or anything. All right, what was next? As someone with limited, pun intended, limited knowledge / playing, how do you go about accounting for the variance impacts to make it a fair event? To me, it seems what you get out of the packs is out of your control and would suck to lose because you didn't get anything good out of your pack. So we talked about this a little bit, so we don't have to like, dwell on it, but there is some amount of just like, you could just open the worst thing absolute possible. But at the end of the day, every character is a win condition. Having a curve is probably more important than having like this 8 cost unbeatable ward bomb, stuff like that. Dan has said before, he beat Tiana Genie on the draw,
Yeah, literally on the draw, and I beat Tiana Genie. Like, anything.
Yeah, Dan doesn't even give me enough credit for that, because your answer to Tiana was a Pete I told you to put in the deck.
Yeah.
Dan like came up to me after, he was just like, Dave, you told me to put a 3-cost 5/2 in my deck, and my opponent played a Tiana, and I had a 5/2. Like,
And I was
yeah.
just like, this is the greatest card in Disney Lorcana.
Like, yeah, the card seen no constructed play, but that stat line was just like, yeah, this is good and limited. Like,
You just told me that all that matters is curve. We spent like 10 minutes talking about it. Stats and curve.
Stats and curve.
So we talked about it a little bit.
Drainage Jafar limited guide coming towards you.
Would love to get TFM Nunez to answer this.
Yeah.
That would require him to
Here we
appear on the
are.
podcast.
We're good.
You summoned him.
Yeah. And then, I know Dan skips over some things, but not me, guys. Listen, if you're in the Discord, you're heard. All right. As long as I'm on here.
I just want to let you know you skipped over something.
In here?
So
What
boy.
Nunez said?
Just go.
Okay. What snacks do you recommend people eat as they watch the DLC news broadcast, aka Worlds? You know what I think? I think people should go get cupcakes custom made with all the lore symbols on them.
That's
adorable.
cute.
Or sorry, ink symbols on them, and lore symbols, stuff like that. That's what I'll go with.
Are they? Is
I've
that
been
even
on a
like
popcorn
legal?
and pretzels kick, so that's my answer. Popcorn and pretzels are the play.
I've been eating healthy, so we can splurge for Worlds.
I emoji reacted with the popcorn, the pretzel, and the ice cream in representation of Disney popcorn, Mickey pretzels, and Dole Whip.
That's a great answer as well. Any Disney theme stuff, and and we have Danny Downer here just shaking his head. Oh God, what I recommend is for everyone to go try Sakurako and Tokyo Street.
Totally missed it.
And this is why Josh is one of my favorite locals here and a great
Totally
friend of
missed
mine.
the opportunity.
Josh will always call you out.
Yes, I love Josh.
I will say
Right.
I didn't have the opportunity to say this later. I am very much I'm in the process of moving, and once I do move, I'm gonna order a box for ourselves and mostly for Lily. My daughter is obsessed with Japan. So I didn't tell you this, Dick. I said, Lily, there might be an opportunity to go that Daddy gets to go to Japan. Would you want to go? And she goes, yes. I was like, even if we're on a plane for a very long time, she
She
goes,
totally's for it.
yes. And I'm like, oh, great. Now I have to take my kid to Japan.
Well,
I knew Lily would come with us.
Hopefully, I don't get all Americans banned from the Grand Prix. Let's talk about that for a second. People that don't know me that well were like, "Don't mess this up for everyone." It's like, I pretty sure I'm one of the best people to be going over there because I will not argue with a single person. I'll follow all the rules, and if they're like, "You have to leave now," I'll be like, "Okay, I'm leaving now." But yeah, that's everything I had for tonight.
Like, all right.
I'll make a video about this. I'll make it as funny as I can, and I'll see y'all later.
I can't wait for all of your vlogs of all the funny foods you eat in Japan. They're going to be so entertaining.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm like, I don't know how much we can inundate the Disney Lorcana crowd with just the stupid stuff that I do. But yeah, like people be like, all right, get to the point. Back to cards. But anyway, anything I missed, Nunez? Did I cover everything?
You had the slide deck, so if we covered all the slides, I just got to come in and talk about Limited for a little bit, and that's basically what I wanted. So
yeah, no, that's why I'm asking, because I rarely do the slides, and I'm notoriously anxious. So it's quite possible I missed something important. Otherwise, yeah, we're all good. We could fart around for a bit. If anyone in the comments has any questions, let us know.
Shout out to the love on Facebook tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
That's more than normal love for Facebook community. So shout out to you guys watching on Facebook. And of course, everyone here on YouTube and Twitch as well. I know we got rated. If you're any new followers, I don't have it up here. We don't see it going on. It's also Dick's show tonight. He was kind of in charge. Melissa helped a little bit, but not really.
Rude.
And me and Nunez just showed up. I only showed up tonight just to rant, and I succeeded in that. So thank you, Dick.
Of course. Anyone else attending any more set champs? I'm hopefully going to play in some Stitch set champs.
That'd be so cool.
I'm so excited for you. I can't wait.
I don't know how to find them. I asked Tom if he knew of any, send them to me, but I haven't heard of anything. But
how dare you, Tom?
Who knows?
I'll do some digging on the internet.
Yeah, he said like everything's on Twitter over there. I already don't know how to use United States Twitter, so like
yeah. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Isu. I appreciate that. Yeah, I got to play in like the first week, and then I cast it. I got to hang out with Sisu this weekend. Actually, he scrubbed out though.
I could be really mean and make a joke right now, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. But it was nice to see him, chat with him a little bit before the tournament, which was fun. And this weekend, I'm very likely going to be working or house hunting. So I knew May was going to be an awful month for set champs for me, and it has proven to be exactly that. So I will be gladly buying all my heroes from the team's extras.
Yeah, I was an absolute scrub. Did not win one. Played in two. This was so. The first one I played in was the first time I did not win the tournament at that store. I was like 6-0 in tournaments. And then the second one I played in, the first time I did not win in that store for set championships. And the first set championships I played in, I did not top 8 that I actually played. Like I joined some and dropped. This one I actually played and I didn't make top 8. And my God, I felt like the worst.
Get wrecked, nerd.
Yeah.
Did we get Orion's report out yet? Did that happen?
The new one is going to go out tomorrow.
All right, perfect. Melissa's on duty.
Yes.
I would like to publicly give a huge shout out to Melissa. You know, I just made fun of her a little bit ago, but I went back to work full time, and Melissa has helped out unimaginable amounts. So, you know, huge shout out to Melissa. She's been getting almost all of the stuff on Metafy going out there. So if you've been enjoying those, if you hate the idea that you didn't get an email notification for any of them,
Blame Metafy.
because it was broke for a week. It was either Melissa's fault or I fixed it. I don't know. You know, shout out to the team for kind of participating. We're looking forward to it. I don't know. I don't think Nunez and I are going to be able to do an event before the set comes out. So we're probably going to have to plan it a couple weeks into the set release this time, which means we
So
likely.
it's also weird where the encounter is technically pre-release weekend, right? It's not even technically the true release weekend.
So no, because they're okay. Pre-release in quotation marks is because they consider big box the official release, but
That's just what it has always been.
But
They
like
just rebranded.
They just rebranded to pre-release. Yeah.
Is the encounter doing any kind of pack rush? I think the store by me in Connecticut is doing some sort of pack rush. Is there like
I don't think
pre-release
so.
event?
I feel like Encounter's probably better off selling their singles.
Yeah, you
than
missed
selling
this.
Pack
Yeah,
Rush.
you missed this at the start. Like the idea that there's less product out there means stores aren't going to host these tournaments, and the encounter will probably just give whatever the promo, if they even get the promo. Last time they didn't even have the promos yet. Like the boxes came, but the promo kits didn't come, so they didn't even have them. Yeah, and he didn't get them yet, so they might not even have them. You know, like I didn't get a Snow White until I went to League, like, you know, and I bought a lot of boxes. So yeah, I don't know.
I think that would be another way to build hype in the community that they're missing a little bit, where if like pre-release or release events like actually felt special in some way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it would be nice. And I mean, I understand why Pack Rush is a nice little cute thing that you can do at DLCs, but for the most part, I don't agree with that. This is the way that we teach people how to play the game, because the rules are like literally not even the same game.
My biggest problem with there being like them pushing Pack Rush and it not being a free event is that you're entrusting stores that are like mishandling set champs already to just mishandle this. Be like, well, this is $13 because you get 2 packs and a promo. Yeah. And there's no prizes. Thanks for coming. Like
you don't even get to play for a pack type thing.
Right. Yeah. And I know some stores are just like, this is one of their first card games and they don't know how things should be done. And then other stores are just taking advantage of the naive player base. So,
bro, I have a good team that have won plenty of playmats. I don't need yours. All right? I don't need yours.
I think I've got one coming your way next weekend, so
we're
probably all set.
We're good.
Winner.
We're good. I think I just sold the last Scar mat that I bought from you.
Nice.
Oh,
So this one I'm keeping because I love Max Grecki and Hero, and I'm upset that I couldn't play the chance.
Oh, I meant to call this out earlier, but it wasn't on the events because it didn't make sense. So Southside has their set champs like this weekend. And on their podcast yesterday, they mentioned that they bought champ mats from other stores, and all of their top 4 are basically going to be getting a mat.
Gotcha.
It's like such a Devin thing to do, but I just thought it was really cool. So
I mean, that's great because I suggested that before for like stores that are like complaining about certain things. I'm like, well, you know, you can always buy this stuff on the secondary market and have tournaments with it.
It's literally what Devin said. He's like, I went to other stores, like we bought them off people who won them and didn't want them, and then like my top 4 are all gonna come home with a mat, in addition to boxes and other crazy things.
Also, you have to remember this is the same store that months ago, like they weren't an OP kit store, so they would literally go and buy all the set champ stuff and then have their own set championships that they bought off the secondary market. So it's not shocking to me at all.
No, it's cool to see them like listen to community feedback and find ways to get it.
Another reason to be upset that I live in Philadelphia and not Margate, Florida. That's all it is.
We love Florida.
That's all it is.
Here's what I'm always running into when I go to tournaments is the entire room just metagaming against me.
Don't even get me started on this topic. There's this one person who is always out to try, like, no matter what deck I play, the next day this person has specific cards in their deck because I played a certain deck. And it doesn't matter if I'm on Amethyst Steel or Emerald Steel or Amber Steel or Ruby Amethyst.
Hey, take it as a compliment, okay?
Yeah.
It is.
I was just gonna say that's what comes with the territory of wearing that hoodie and like wearing the shirt.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just that's just life, all right? You got the name for it, okay? You got the name for it.
Jorge, spoilers is not good. That was good.
Oh God, that's so good.
Oh, Ben! I said it at the start. I'll say it at the end. I'm upset that you guys aren't coming to the encounter. I see you guys are too cool. You're gonna go to the invitation. I get it. That's fine. It's fine.
It's because we were originally supposed to be in UK and then we shifted things.
Yeah. Although technically, we didn't talk. We can talk about it live. You guys have the invitational on Saturday. You could come to the encounter on the 8th.
You know, when you said that earlier, it kind of poked my mind. So we shall see. It is very possible.
Throwing it out there.
To be completely honest with you, I kind of just picked to play in the bigger room. And encounter is gonna maybe be like 6. I think, are we capping at 60 this time?
It's whatever. Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
Cap,
The other one's 128. So I just chose the bigger room for the beginning of the set.
Some nerds going to the UK in chat.
Some nerd can have fun there.
We'll be all right.
He'll get to go find Lorcana Villain and shout, "Be prepared."
Fair. Final last words, Nunes.
There is now an @TFM Nunes Twitter account, X account.
Let's go.
So, I don't think there's any tweets on it, but you can go follow it. You can find me there.
Is it separate from Master Nunes? Or is it just rebranded?
I have 2 Twitter accounts now. So
All right.
Okay.
Baller status.
I think it's actually 3, but
One's just for hating all my tweets.
no.
Your memes aren't funny, and you should delete this account.
No, I think I still have access. There's a Twitter account @JewelledBird because at one point I thought I was going to acquire a bunch of Jeweled Birds, the card that replaces your ante in Magic.
Yeah.
I have a friend who I convinced to buy Wood Spears. Magic the Gathering Alpha had like only like I think it was 11,000 of each common printed. So if you purchased like 110 commons, you had like 1% of all of the alpha commons. So he like bought like 110 Wood Spheres, and they like went from $2.50 to like $10 because he bought like 1% of the market.
Yeah.
So he was at Wooden Sphere, I think, on Twitter. We did some dumb stuff back in the day. Yeah, I don't even think I'm followed by the TFM account. So.
How do I know you exist?
Because I followed the TFM account. I didn't get a follow back.
Did you? You missed the other part where I've been on Twitter for less than 5 minutes a day for the last 2 weeks. It's been magical.
Yeah, if Jorge's my third follower, then it's like my personal account and Orion, I think.
Listen, I have to keep my follower to followers ratio low for potential sponsors. So I'll have to pick between your main one and your TFM one.
All right, you got to follow Nunes.
Boom. Look at that. This just by making it so.
Yeah, and if you do a giveaway, you can be up to 1,000 by midnight.
Yeah,
Shots fired.
Depends. You got to give away the good stuff.
it's true. That's funny. You almost got me in trouble, Dick.
I
Dan's
never
gonna bite
get
his
angry.
tongue.
I'm good
You
for the
can't
brand.
make comments like that and expect me to not double down.
I'm good for the brand. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're bad for the brand. All right. So Dick's going to Japan. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm very excited to see it. If Dick doesn't win or get kicked out, it's a loss for everyone.
Yeah, I better not come back.
Just
Change my name to
Just stay
Dick. I am Dixon. Yeah. I gotta go dye my hair in about 10 minutes. Get ready.
I was gonna ask you what color it's gonna be.
I don't know. We have a whole basket of hair dye, and
Yellow.
we just grab one.
Just be yellow.
Well, it's gonna be
Good
yellow
news,
overnight. I'm gonna put in the dye tomorrow.
I found the link to where we can find all the set champs for you.
Oh, in Japan?
Yes,
Look at that.
Perfect. Thank
She's
you,
good.
Secretary Melissa.
I got
Appreciate you so
you.
much. Your Christmas bonus is gonna be double what it was last year.
Aw, you're so kind.
So also 0.
Double
It's
zeros.
gonna be getting my toys from Tom home. That's what it is.
Yeah, you'll get a Tokyo treat direct to your house. I have your address.
That is true. I did mail you cards the other day.
That's fair.
If you win, do you go to Worlds? No, they have their own World Championships. So yes and no.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't get a gold Mickey, but that's okay.
Yeah.
If you win a Let It Go, that'd be cool though. Like just the Let It Go is really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I could cut it into 4. All of us could have a corner.
Do not do that.
Please don't
I
cut
don't
the
want a
mat.
quarter.
You're gonna give me so much
I don't want a
anxiety.
corner, it's
Do
fine.
not do that. That's not funny.
Dick
Whenever
wants to do it
someone
more
says
now.
that's
Dan,
not
you don't know
funny,
what you've done.
it's even more funny.
Like, there's nothing Dick wants more now than to cut up a Let It Go.
Yeah, but he won't. He won't. You won't. He won't. Dick. Richard.
I mean, the strip's expensive enough. I might as well. Oh god.
Oh no. All right. It's your show. You close it.
Oh well, you talked to me and Nunez. Melissa, anything you want to say before we head out?
No one cares.
Yikes!
It's because she's a woman. So
Rude.
our official
She's only
stance says
here. She's only here because she's been doing all the work recently.
our official stance
And I already
is the
thanked her for
Forbidden
that.
Mountain is that the women must do all of the work, do all of the cleaning, and get none of the recognition. We all
my
agree.
wife watching. I'm never going to hear the end of that comment.
Kylie's gonna murder you tonight.
Thankfully, I'm a part of the Friendship Mountain and not the Forbidden
Aw.
Mountain, so I can't get canceled.
Jeez, I'm in
Anyway,
trouble.
Melissa, anything you want to say before we close out?
No, I'm really excited for the new set to come out and to hopefully open some lady cards.
Yeah, Melissa and Dan will be a lot. Our wallet's going to be a lot lighter next weekend.
Yes, facts.
Well, with that, we have gone 2 for 8. Simulation confirmed.
I knew this was gonna happen.
I delayed it as long as I could, and we'll see y'all later. Thank you so much. Sorry we can't raid anybody because we just don't have the second screen set up, and we can't do it through this software. So
True.
see y'all later.
Adios.
Bye,
friends.
guys.